All right, shalom. This is Kanakshan Banyashala from the GMS Lions Den Camp. First and foremost, I want to give all glory and praise to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles of GMS and salutations to the Akim that are spread among the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity and truth. All right, the name of this lesson is going to be tearing down the shadows of evil. Because our elder in the camp, Elder Herawan, I put out a lesson topic to anybody that wanted to try, and basically the topic is throw an idol gets knocked down and hits the earth and breaks into pieces. It still has to be broken down mentally. All right, it has to be cast down mentally. All right, so that spirit, even though that physical idol itself could be, cast down, like how you see these statues and stuff of the idols of Esau being taken down, but the still spirit of that whole thought process, or that whole um, the whole spirit of that, or their ways, that their, what I'm saying, their society, that whole makeup of their thought process has to be torn down. So you can take down all the statues that you want to, but that spirit is still lingering around. All right, so it's like it never left. All right, it's because it's not the idol itself. It's the ideology. It's the concept behind the idols. It's the ways and the thought process of this particular idol. All of them have a story behind it. You got so-called Jesus. Well, what he is, he's the savior of the white people, man. As far as a nation of individuals, because they had nothing before the Renaissance period. All right, so their ways and their values uh, upon Christianity was really put forth for them to excel, really for them to worship, and it was Christianity was put together for them to worship and to put us in slavery. They don't want us worshiping their Jesus, but they use their Jesus to put us in slavery. Only thing he was meant to do is just to be a idol god for them and a stronghold and a stumbling block for us. All right. So you have to cast down that imagination, that spirit. All right. So even if that big statue of Cesare Borgia over there in Brazil or wherever the hell it's at, if that falls to the ground and crumbles in pieces, it's not the fact that it physically crumbled in pieces, it's the symbolism behind that, which affects the spirit, all right, the soul. All right. So basically that's getting out of the carnal state of mind and getting into the spiritual state. And like, because we could break idols and knock them down all day, but if you don't understand why the idols are being torn down, only thing you're doing is lifting them up, because people take pride in these idols. Just like even the American flag. You could burn a million American flags if you want to. All right. But the whole agenda behind America still stands. That spirit still lingers around, whether you burn the flag or not. So what you have to attack the spirit that's lingering. All right. Expose the lies. All right. So that's what the top is basically getting into, and that's what I'm, going to be talking about. First scripture I want to get is 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. All right. So like Esau, that's the only way he can war. His weapons of warfare are carnal, because he's not a spiritual man. He's a brute beast. All right. That's why you see idols and stuff everywhere, because he has no faith. He has to have something. He has to worship something he sees. He has to have a memorial or some sort of monument and representation that stems back to him. But it really doesn't stem back to him. It stems back to the things that he's stolen throughout his course of his existence. All right. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds. All right. And this devil, that's what That's what his job was to do, was to go out and deceive. All right, this is 2 Corinthians 10:5. Casting down imaginations and everything that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahweh Shai. So that's us tearing down the spiritual, tearing down the foundations of these imaginations, these vain philosophies, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Rastafarianism. It doesn't matter. Our job is to sit down there, is to be sent out there on the highways and byways and throughout the internet, exposing them for what they are. All right, because you trying to cast something down physically with force, that it doesn't work for you when you're a spiritual being. All right, you have to cast down the imaginations first. All right, and having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. So once we're fulfilled and we receive the Spirit and we turn back to the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, we always have to be ready to revenge all disobedience, meaning to reprove. All right, heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, break down vanities, destroy strongholds that are set up by this devil. All right, all right. Do ye look on things after the outward appearance? If any man trusts himself that he is Yahweh Shai's, let him of himself think this again, that as he is Yahweh Shai, even so are we Yahweh Shai's. All right, so it says, does any man look, do ye look on things after the outward appearance? I mean, and the thing about it, that's also true dealing with that's basically dealing with the warfare. So if we don't look, if we're supposed to judge according to the Spirit, that's also how we're supposed to cast down according to the Spirit, not physically cast down. We got to cast down mentally. All right, so so I just want to get into a couple scriptures, just talking about different instances of us doing this. All right, this is Judges chapter 6 verse 24. All right, and that's what our job is doing. Like the elder, he made a video talking about the seven ecumenical councils with the Council of Nicaea. It was what I'm saying, a great lesson, but it wasn't even the great to the point of the historical knowledge that you gain from it. It was the timing of it. Right at the time in the heat of the battle when we're destroying this stronghold of Christianity, right? He puts this video out, So it's the timing behind everything. So basically, man, once this stronghold falls down, man, it's a wrap. All right, that's when everything else is gonna come into play. All right, this is Judges 6:24. Then Gideon built an altar there unto the Lord and called it Yahweh Shalom. All right, so we're building a spiritual altar right now. All right. All right. Until this day, it is yet in Ophrah of the Abazirites. And it came to pass that the same night that the Lord said unto him, take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father hath, and cut down the grove that is by it. All right. So he told Gideon to strap a rope around this idol and pull it down with the ram. All right, and told him to cut down the groves. All right, and build an altar unto Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai upon the top of this rock in the ordered place, and take the second bullock and offer a burnt sacrifice with the wood of the grove which thou shalt cut down. So that's basically what happens to our mind when we come into the truth. All right, that vision of what we learned in the past. All right, through the philosophies and the vain philosophies of this world gets pulled down, and the altar of Yahweh Shem you know what I'm saying, Yahweh Shai gets set up and he becomes that sacrificial lamb. All right. All right. Then Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did as the Lord had said unto him. And so it was, because he feared his father's household and the men of the city, that he could not do it by day, that he did it by night. And when the men of the city arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was cast down, and the grove was cut down that was by it, and the second bullock was offered upon the altar that was built. And they said one to another, Who hath done this thing? And when they inquired and asked, they said, Gideon, the son of Joash, had done this thing. Then the men in the city said, Joash, bring out thy son, that he may die, because he hath cast down the altar of Baal, and because he hath cut down the grove that was by it. And that's how you so-called Christians be acting with us when we come out there on the highways and byways. All right, y'all want to kill us because we're destroying the philosophies of what you were taught. You know what I'm saying, that was taught by our forefathers, and really to put us in slavery. And you get upset with us for tearing down those philosophies, right? And Joash said unto all that stood against him, Will ye plead for Baal? Will ye save him? All right, and that's what we telling y'all. Y'all pleading for the so-called white man. Y'all pleading for the devil. You know, you're going to save the devil? Like, for real, let the devil save himself. Because at the end of the day, if what we're going out there on the highways and byways pushing forth is a lie, then it's going to fall and crumble. It's not going to continue to get stronger. It'll continue to get stronger at one point, but at some point it's going to have to fall if it's not of the Most High. All right? It says, Will ye plead for Baal? Will ye save him? He that will plead for him, let him be put to death. Say, the one that needs to be put to death is the one pleading for a so-called God. All right? All right? Will it put to death? It is yet morning. While it is yet morning, if he be a God, let him plead for himself, because one hath cast down his altar. All right. So he's like, let him plead for himself then. If he be a God, why he can't pick himself up? Idle all on the ground in the dirt, all down on the ground. He can't even get up, but y'all worship it. All right. Therefore, on that day, he called him Jerubbaal, saying, Let Baal plead against him, because he has thrown down his altar. All right. So that's what we're sent out there to do, to cast down the abominations and the altars of the wicked, man. We're not supposed to be living in this land getting comfortable and shit. No. We're supposed to be casting down the altars, man. That's what we're sent out here to do. Every land we go to, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be going by the customs of the land. We're supposed to be casting down the imaginations of the land. All right. I was trying to look for a scripture. And, okay, yeah. Let me get this. What is this? Exodus 34 and 13. Exodus 34 and 13. All right, start at 12. This is Exodus 34 and 12. Take ye to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. All right, so we're supposed to go into slavery, but the scriptures say it was a curse because we were forced to serve other gods. All right, but the Lord said he was going to be a little sanctuary in the midst of wherever he scatters thee, right? So that sanctuary is the truth. All right. All right. Lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. For thou shalt worship no other God. For the Lord, whose name is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is a jealous power. All right. All right. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eatest of his sacrifice. So basically, You're trying to cover yourself with their covering, which is no covering. All right. So that's our job, is to tear down these strongholds, man. Where is it? All right, this is Bel and the dragon. This is how Daniel cast down the imagination, of Bel and the dragon. All right, that they were worshiping in Babylon or Persia or one of them. All right, Persia. Somebody. All right. This is Bel and the dragon, chapter 1, verse 1. And King Astyages was gathered to his fathers, and Cyrus of Persia received his kingdom. And Daniel conversed with the king and was honored above all his friends. Now the Babylonians had an idol called, okay, this is the Assyrians, all right, had an idol called Bel, and there was spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour and 40 sheep and 6 vessels of wine. And the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And the king said unto him, Why doest not thou worship Bel? Who answered and said, Because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living power who hath created the heavens and the earth, and has sovereignty over all flesh. So that right there is just letting you know, man, like, there's no power other than Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, man. Those are the true powers of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. All right. And we are not supposed to worship anything other than them, man. All right. Then said the king unto him, Thinkest thou not that Baal is a living God? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? Because they were putting a bunch of food in the temple at nighttime, and when everybody goes to bed and go to sleep, like they come in the next morning and the food be gone. But that shit wasn't fooling Daniel, right? Then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, all right? For this is but clay within and brass without, and did never eat or drink anything. See, that's just like Christianity. Like, y'all worshiping Christmas and Easter and all that other stuff, but if you really understand, had an understanding, or just do some freaking research, you would understand that all the holidays, the so-called holy days in the churches, are pagan worship days. All right? This is the same thing, what Daniel's trying to explain to the king. All right? So the king was wroth and called for his priests and said unto them, If ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die. But if ye can certify me that Bel devoured them, then Daniel shall die. For he has spoken blasphemy against Bel. And Daniel said unto the king, Let it be according to thy word. Daniel said, Lord, run it then. Let's run it. I'll prove to you that your God is not a God. All right? Now the priests of Bel were 70 besides their wives and children. So 70. So 70 people. 70 people, not even including their wives and children, but 70 priests. Now, check this out. And the king went with Daniel into the temple of Bel. So Bel's priest said, Lo, we go out, but thou, O king, set on the meat and make ready the wine and shut the door fast and seal it with thine own signet. And tomorrow when thou comest in, if thou findest not that Bel hath eaten up all, we shall suffer death, or else Daniel that speaketh falsely against us. And they little regarded for it, for under the table they had made a privy interest whereby they entered and continually consumed these things. So what they were doing, they were locking everything up so nobody could come in the temple. But at night, when everybody was asleep, they would go in the temple and eat all the food. And then when everybody come back in the morning, they think it's the king come back in the morning, they're thinking it's Bel that ate the food. It's just wicked ass people, man. So what are they doing? They're lying and deceiving. That's the whole foundation, the makeup of Christianity, man. That's exactly what it is. All right? All right, hold on. I lost my place. Okay, yeah. All right. This is 1 and 14. So then when they were gone forth, the king set meats before Bel. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and those they stirred without all the temple in the presence of the king alone. Then went they out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet and departed. So departed. Now in the night came the priests with their wives and children, and they weren't what they want to do, and did eat and drink up all. In the morning bedtime, the king arose, and Daniel with him. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? He said, Yea, O king, they are whole. As soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, Great art thou, O Bel. With thee is no deceit at all. Then laughed Daniel and held the king that he should go in, and said, Behold, now the pavement and the mark were those whose footsteps are these. All right, so Daniel had went in there. Daniel and some of his friends had went in there, put ashes all over the floor, right? So when everybody would come in to eat, you would see the footprints and stuff everywhere to prove that it wasn't Bel that was eating the food. And the king said, I see the footsteps of men, women, and children. And then the king was angry and took the priests with their wives and children, who shewed him the privy doors where they came in, and consumed much things as were upon the table. Therefore the king slew them and delivered Bel into Daniel's power, who destroyed him and his temple. All right, so what Daniel did first there is he destroyed the philosophy of Bel even existing. And later, once he destroyed that out of the mind of the king, he was able to physically tear that foundation down, tear the statue down. And that's how we're sent out there on the highways and byways to do. All right. And with that being said, I want to give all glory and praise to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles of GMS, and salutation to the Akim that are pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth, Salakia, pushing in sincerity and truth, tearing down the foundations of the shadows of evil with these wicked ass philosophies and doctrine. Shalom.